Hej, cześć, siemano, jestem pan Jeśli, tam w kolejnym odcinku z gry Call of Juarez Gunslinger. I tak, nagrywam to zaraz po tym odcinku. Fun fact. Zobaczcie na liczbę zabić. 99. Magia. Dobra, kontynuujemy fabułę.
Thank you, darling. It's interesting how the truth can sometimes seem might malleable, depending upon your point of view.
Like how those dime novels make you out to be something you're not?
Jack, don't be starting trouble.
No, he's right. They do tend to exaggerate.
Did they exaggerate your part in taking down the Daltons?
Well, I was there in the flesh, boy, so I saw what happened firsthand.
Będziemy grać Benem? Epicko.
Those Daltons were lawmen once, before they all went bad, robbing banks and trains clear across the territory. Until Coffeeville, of course. I was one of the citizens who took up arms that day.
Fighting on the side of right.
I did my best, sir. We all did.
Będę grać Benem? Lewy dolny róg mi powie prawdę. Dorny? Będzie Silence czy Ben?
One of my friends was a local gunsmith, and he handed out firearms to anybody
Gramnikiem.
who'd take one. You see, the Daltons got it in their heads to rob two banks at the same time. Two banks on the same damn street. Story was Bob Dalton's girl was always writing him about how he had no ambition. Oh, you're nobody next to Jesse James, she'd say.
Okay.
Finally, the bastard took his brothers to Coffeeville just to shut her up.
Jej,
Right.
swoim
It's
swojego.
always the woman's fault.
O nie, chłop, co to było? Chłop przez ścianę strzela. Ścianę, filar. Kolejną?
The locals recognized the Daltons right off. Before they could get
Serio?
away, half the
Tak-
town
tak
took
serio.
up arms to defend their property. Their first mistake was pulling a job in their own damn hometown.
Okej, to trzech. Hello. To byli ci?
The brothers paid dearly for their stupidity.
Tak, to byli ci.
But
Okej.
everybody knows
Szybciuteńko.
they had it coming.
There's more to it than that. I read all about that day, so I know for a fact that it went down very differently. First of all, it was high noon. A posse of U.S. deputy marshals were on the
Ła,
rooftop
spawn
across the street.
camping.
Get ready, boys.
Hanun, 11:55, nawet nie z południa, to jest 11:55.
Now they finally had them dead to rights. Among them was a bounty hunter feared by many a lawbreaker. The marshals tried to get the Daltons to surrender.
We just gotta wait for something that you
This bounty hunter knew that the brothers were far too proud to ever lay down their guns.
Halo, przeładowanie. Oni robią... Boty za mnie robią więcej roboty.
Front those criminals. One of the marshals shouted, "Where are you going? Are you crazy?"
Hey, where do you think you're going, dumbass? That rifle's mine.
He paid him no mind. He saw a way to get around to the back of the bank.
Po co iść bokiem, jak można ich... A, bo tu też na ziemi byli. Okej,
He figured
to
out how to
wyjaśnię.
hit the Daltons from a direction they weren't expecting.
Wieża. Climbing
A
Simulator.
moment later, he was climbing up a steep ladder, laughing at danger as he did. It's brave men like him who risked their lives to tame this wild country.
Jak? To jest 2 metry. Hello.
Heroic men like him
Is that side
did
of
what
green?
other men couldn't
Son of
or
a
wouldn't to
bitch!
make this country free. Jim Bowie, Davy Crockett, who died defending the Alamo.
Nie. Go to horny. Kurde, mogłem to ominąć. Czemu jeszcze las? Nic nie zostawili. Mani.
Over there!
Chłop nie żyje. Zmiana broni mi zasłoniła, nie zauważyłem.
Silas Greaves! What the hell?
Blam! Blam! He came away victorious, taking down those thieving Daltons.
Okej. Kurczę, mamy być
His
strzał.
name? Silas Greaves. And when the dust finally settled, he was the last man standing.
Okej, to w końcu oni
Sorry,
zginęli?
kid, but that just wasn't the way it happened.
Bre.
It was early evening, not high noon. The Daltons blew up a safe, and were all set to hightail it out of there. I was late to the party, and Coffeeville was already up in arms. Those pathetic deputies surrounding the bank were dropping like flies.
No to musiało boleć. Bo i tak nie żył, ale i tak musiało tak boleć.
I had been tracking those jokers for months, waiting for them to do something reckless. And finally, they did. Those stupid bastards decided to rob two banks at the same time in the same town where everybody knew them. But they still had friends in Coffeeville.
Go ahead! You won't need a cannon. You can't get me. Oh, now.
Klik.
Get away with this. What are you gonna do?
Co? Serio? Nie, panie tarczowniku. Nie zasłużył pan na życie. Hej.
Those friends came after me like a pack of wild dogs, tooth and nail. They were coming at me from all directions.
I haha.
I caught sight of the Daltons running with the money and didn't want to lose them. The problem was, they knew the town better than I did. And to top it off, I found myself in the middle of another shootout entirely.
Did the Daltons hole up in somebody's house?
No, it was the Smiths, I believe. They were cousins of the Daltons. And they were shooting at the Browns, who were shooting at the Daltons. Which wasn't any surprise, because those two families have been feuding forever. And since the Joneses are related to the Browns, they shot at the Smiths, pissing off the Heimhoffers, whose daughter recently married a Smith. Well, bullets were flying every which way as all the old feuds in Kansas caught fire all at once. There was a hell of a lot of pissed off people in Coffeeville that day. But that's just the way life is sometimes. Shit happens.
Nic tu nie ma. Smutno.
The Dalton boys knew I would never give up.
Haj.
Those Daltons weren't the sharpest knives in the drawer, but they always stood together. They set a trap to slow me down.
Okej,
and allow at
niewidzialne
least two of
ściany,
them to
kocham.
escape.
Skacz? Nie, bokiem. Bo czemu góra?
It was Emmett, the youngest, and he decided to stand his ground and face me down.
I ain't afraid of you, Silas Greaves. This is where it ends for you.
He
Yeah,
was determined to
definitely.
protect his brothers. I understood how he felt. Taking me on all by his lonesome wasn't exactly a recipe for a long life.
W sensie on ma tylko strzelbę chyba. No ładuj już. szybciej.
You messed with the wrong damn Dalton.
Wow. Z jednej obrony do drugiej obrony. Dynamit.
Coward and a cheater. I'm gonna pledge you where you stand.
No i leży.
But
Trochę
Emmett
easy.
Dalton survived the robbery in Coffeyville. He's the only Dalton who did.
They say he was shot 23 times.
Well, Dwight, who do you
23
think put
razy
all those damn
dostał.
holes in him?
I przeżył? Chłop z metalu zrobiony.
But I have to admit, that boy had grit.
We'll get those suckers.
It took me a couple of days to track the Daltons down.
They can't get away with this.
And in that time, a whole posse of local vigilantes offered to lend a hand.
Fuj.
We'll track you
Znowu?
They seemed as determined as me to find those outlaws. But as we headed into those swamps, it was like I had my own private army. There was no way those boys were getting away this time.
Bum. Myślałem, że to zrobi więcej, tak szczerze.
It was early fall, right? Beautiful time of year. At least you had the weather on your side.
Not by my recollection. It was damp and foggy as hell.
I...
It was tough to stay on a true course, so we kept an eye out for landmarks. It was autumn. The maple trees were in full color, red as blood. The rains that year were torrential, so the whole area was flooded. The vigilantes had spread out wide, and pretty soon I couldn't see anybody.
Bury them in the swamp. Where they stand.
Except for some bitches ahead of me wanting to do me harm. So I had to face them alone.
No i dobry rewolwer.
I wondered
Jej,
why my
dobry rewolwer.
compatriots didn't come running when they heard the shots.
Can't hide forever.
Okay.
God damn him to hell.
Jeden rewolwer powinien na razie wystarczyć.
So did you find the Daltons?
Not yet, but I did have the questionable pleasure of meeting a few of their friends. The boys had established quite a reputation by that time, so they attracted all manner of riffraff to their cause.
To było blisko. Nie trafiłem? Serio? Tak blisko? Strzelba. I dobra, rewolwer. Wow. Jak to nie był head? Jak to nie był head? Jak to nie był head? Życie to
And my
niekończąca
reinforcements was
się
nowhere to be
zagadka.
seen. Point being, I was under serious attack.
Ojejku. Co? Nie przyznaję się do takiego celu.
A barn materialized as if right before my eyes. I scrambled up top to get a better view,
Ciekawe czy dam radę.
but just ended up falling inside.
So, how
Oczywiście,
did
że nie
you
dałem
get
rady.
out?
The barn doors was open. About right then, I saw some suspicious characters running for the bushes. Of course, I followed them. But
Do
that
tego też się nie
goddamn
przyznaję.
swamp was like a goddamn maze, and pretty soon I had no goddamn idea where I was. Steve? So I just started walking, and pretty soon Steve? Steve?
Huh? Oh, no, I'm listening.
Indians surrounded me from all sides.
There were Indians.
No. I just wanted to make sure Steve was paying attention. Now, where was I?
You were following the Daltons through a swamp?
Ale amunicja mi się pewnie
That's
suszyła.
right. See, Steve? Dwight's paying attention.
No,
Oni tu
I'm
byli.
listening. I was just resting my eyes.
O, mamo.
So,
Okej. Nie
where
było
was I?
problemu.
The Daltons.
Right. See, there's a reason so many outlaw gangs are made up of brothers. Being a brother is a very sacred thing. It's a bond like no other.
Jest magiczne, że...
So did you ever find the damn Daltons?
Not yet, but I did find a few of their cousins. You Kansans breed like
Ojej.
rabbits. More Smiths or Heimhoffers or who knows what.
S, W, D. Bom. Albo i nie.
But hell, what's more important than family? I bet Ben knows what I'm talking about.
Co on tak to pewnie się pruje? Co, rodzinę mu zabił? Coś szybko sobie ostatnio nabiłem punkty. To jest... Okej, on jest opancerzony. Jej! Co zadziałało? Okej, tego za bardzo nie chciałem. Mnie wystraszyło na amen. O, czy ten amen? Nie, po prostu są pełne. O, co? Nawet ich nie widzę, oni mnie widzą. Okej, dynamit. Okej, widzieli, przegapnij. Halo? Ammo i od razu biegnę tam do...
This some bitch.
No w rękę mu traf. Kurde. Okej, nie tyle dobrze. Gdzie jest ten ciężki? Przed nami.
I knew those Dalton
No i
boys were
dobra.
out there somewhere, standing together against
Yeehaw.
anyone who would threaten them.
To jest strzelba.
And that's when I saw it. A goddamn steamboat.
A steamboat in a swamp?
Yeah, Steve, but this wasn't much more than a wreck, really.
Wow.
How'd a damn steamboat end up in the swamps?
Guess it floated off during the flood of '89.
Now, was it a stern wheeler or a side wheeler?
What? Does that really make a difference, Steve? It was a steamboat with a goddamn army on board. It was in that a few
Armia?
slaughter bullets come raining down from on high, and those vigilantes who accompanied me weren't anywhere to be found. But among those
To jest
men that were
Gatlin?
shooting at me, I thought I saw some familiar faces.
Tak, to jest Gatlin. Jeha, boys. Co ja mam z tym zrobić? Co ja mam zrobić z tą informacją? Okej, to jest o tyle lepsza pozycja. Okej. Dobra, Gatlin leży, więc teraz powinno być dosyć easy. A mówiąc dosyć easy, czyli po prostu zrobić coś takiego. A, okej, nawet nie trafiłem. No, on tak podbiega, że się... Okej.
Somewhere up there, the Daltons were waiting on me.
Powinno być tutaj dużo miejsca. Czyli długo, ale niezbyt szeroko.
Sounds like you don't give up too easy.
That's the kind of man I am, Ben. I set out to do something. I do it. Surrender just ain't in my nature. Plus, I'm stubborn as hell.
Okej, kiedy Silas ładuje, to ja sobie... Okej. Dodatkowe zbliżenie podczas sterowania. Nie, już chcę odblokować tam rzeczy. O! Szybkie ładowanie! Chyba to są te pierwsze? Tak. I szybkie ładowanie. W końcu te przemienne rewolwery jakoś wyglądają, ale i tak to. A jak to na karabinie wygląda? Nie ma animacji, nie miało animacji tak z boku? Ciekawa sprawa. Czy muszę używać? Nie chciałbym za bardzo. Okej, speedrun.
Right about then, much to my relief, the vigilantes finally arrived. Their leader motioned at a cabin in the middle of the top deck, pointing me directly at the Daltons.
Jak on się
I
tu
finally had
pojawił?
'em, after months of dogged pursuit.
Jak? Czemu nie pomógł? Coś tu śmierdzi.
found out that they had me.
Take him out! I'm sending you to hell!
I wykrakamy.
The Daltons had played
Not
me
so
like a
tough
fiddle.
after all this.
Apparently, the vigilantes were on their damn payroll. They didn't just want to shoot me. They wanted to burn me alive. But finding my way out of a burning labyrinth proved to be quite a challenge.
It was a riverboat, right? I mean, it's not like it was a goddamn ocean liner.
Well, yeah, but I was in a
Did you
fight.
hear about that ship that's gonna launch next year? Largest one in the world.
Something about the Titanic. If you ask me, it's too blessed big. I don't think they'll even slow.
So anyway,
Don't be stupid, Steve. They know what they're doing. They say that the Titanic is unsinkable.
oh God.
But getting back to that steamboat, how did you get off it, Mr. Greaves?
I took in a lot of smoke that day, so I admit my recollection might be a bit hazy. But somehow I managed to finally disembark. I was coughing up smoke and pretty damn pissed. I was done playing games with those boys. It was time to settle this once and for all.
Ale że celownika na tym nie wiadomo? Jiha. Okej, skupienie się akurat przydało. No nie jest za dużo tego skupienia.
Bob and Grat weren't about to come at me one at a time. They were
Okay.
in this together. Two brothers side by side, determined to
Oi, oi,
take
oi.
me down. Confident that this time the odds were on their side.
Dobra. Oj, oj, oj. Miałem bardzo kiepską szybkość chyba. Albo po prostu chujowy czas reakcji.
They got it wrong. A sad end for those two. If they'd only known that Emmett was still alive despite his wounds. Paroled 14 years later, he moved to California and sold real estate and lived off the legend of that fateful day. And the tragic death of his two brothers.
Okej. Umiejętności. Szybkie celowanie. Okej.
My own brothers died tragically as well, truth be told. It was 1868, and me and my older brothers were pulling a tidy profit running cattle into Juarez, Mexico. One night after my brothers retired for the evening, I found a little poker game in a cantina with a couple of cowboys. And I just couldn't lose. I even won an old Spanish coin that had to be 100 years old. Well, I was mighty pleased with myself the next morning as my brothers and I rode for Texas. But before we crossed the border, those cowboys caught up with us. It was Johnny Ringo, Roscoe Bob Bryant, and another asshole named Jim. They wanted their money back and everything else we had, including our lives, as those boys didn't want us coming for them later. Bob put that old Spanish coin in my mouth and said, "I won't have it said that I left you with nothing, boy." Well, those horses bolted, and there we hung as those bastards rode away. The branch finally snapped under the weight of the three of us, but being my older brothers were bigger and heavier, they were already dead. And right then I swore to myself that I would avenge them. Ringo you know about. But Bob eluded me, until I heard he was riding with the Wild Bunch.
Damn. Dark as fuck.
I'd been on their trail for months, ever since they left their hideout in the Bighorn Mountains. Led by Butch Cassidy, they were a loose association of outlaws who robbed banks and trains from Colorado to Montana. Among them was the Sundance Kid, and that murderous hombre I was tracking, Roscoe Bob Bryant.
Were you a part of that giant Pinkerton posse after the Wild Bunch?
No, boy.
Prawie spadłem.
A circus like that would have slowed me down. Besides, I wanted Bryant all to myself. They blew the bridge with the intention of forcing the train to stop. I was determined to make that sumbitch Bob pay for what he did to my brothers.
Broń, broń, tak, 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 nie. Spiłowany karabin. Po co to komu?
My ears are still ringing from blowing up that bridge. What'd you say? I can't hear a goddamn thing.
Well, I made my way off unscathed and came upon a few members of the gang and had no choice but to dispatch them.
O!
From there, I had to negotiate an even more precarious route.
Koń.
But first, I would need to get my ass out of there.
Koń.
I jumped from the frying pan into the fire as the train was clearly fixing to fall. I had found the gang, but in order to find old Bob, I needed to fight my way forward past a whole passel of desperados.
Hello, desperado.
Outside, inside, any way I could, I made my way towards my prey.
Well, what about the passengers?
It was mostly a freight train, as I recall. There were no passengers aboard that day.
Yep. Ba, boom, boom. Było ciekawe. Umiejętność. To.
As I mentioned before, I am not fond of heights. But I was too busy dodging bullets to worry about falling to my death. Odds were I was likely to die that day anyway.
To był
So I
akurat
was
strzał
determined
z
to
strachu.
take down as many of those bastards as I could.
O,
At times it was like shooting ducks in a shooting gallery. The only difference is these damn ducks shot back.
to ich wyrąbało w powietrze. Ser, muszę górą.
I kept hoping the law would show up and give me a
I mean,
hand.
like that giant Pinkerton posse that I read about. Did they come riding in, guns a-blazing to help?
Co?
Help?
Pomoc?
From the Pinkertons? No, son. I had to fight the Wild Bunch all by my lonesome, as usual.
Okej.
Who the hell is that? Retreat! Retreat! Kill!
Dobra. Ale z 2 metrów to już mi zadało całe HP prawie.
He's killing everybody! Ready to meet your maker. He'll kill us all!
Ponieważ siano jest niezniszczalne.
My guess is those dime novels didn't portray this as it happened, did they? Only a few stragglers were left. I had to cut them down pronto if I was going to stay on old Bob's trail.
Dostanę za to level może? Okej, to myślałem, że już zginąłem.
Once I silenced all those guns, I went searching for my nemesis, determined to finally have my justice. But the only survivor who welcomed me was George Flat-Nosed Curry.
Who was he?
The fastest gun in the gang. Right after Sundance, I mean. And Kid Curry, and maybe Elsie Lay. Though some folks might dispute that.
Należy już? Tak krótko?
On that very same day, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid decided to leave the Wild Bunch behind and decamped for South America. They ended up living down there for many years, but I'm sure you already know all about that.
Prawie pełna szybkość. Okej, dziękuję wam bardzo za oglądanie i trzymajcie się do następnego. Cześć.